Hi guys, welcome back to the Funky Evolution Party. I'm Alice Green. This is a bit of a Mother's Day come parenting session for a few reasons. Number one, mothers are so undervalued. Women in society are so undervalued. And it's really time that we looked at things from a very different perspective. The world is full of hate. And maybe we'll start with a few stories. Number one, in terms of mothers, every single person has a mother. Every single person is a child of somebody. And on Saturday, I had a crazy experience. I was wore my raving trousers. Actually, they're over there. I love them. And I was like, great. I'm not going to have to deal with ravers. And basically, two 16-year-old girls were completely passed out in the park. And again, education around drinking, around all of these things, all of these issues that are no longer discussed in families. Everyone goes undercover, everyone's hiding, and then we end up in these situations where we have 16-year-old girls completely passed out, so sick, covered in vomit and snot. And as a mother, it doesn't matter whether they are your children or somebody else's children, it kicks in. From blowing their noses to cleaning up this, it was disgusting. But this is what we do as a global community. It doesn't matter whether it's your child or somebody else's. All of last week was basically a Mother's Day special for me. From picking, taking nursery kids who aren't even my kids on excursions, and really badly behaved children who need adults like myself who give them boundaries, who say no. Because there has been so many times now where I've had kids chase me up the road and just insisting, and the parents not actually giving kids boundaries. Now, the reason this is important is because it's what happens when they become adults. It's what happens when we don't say no to children and then they grow up thinking that they can get whatever they want in life. Tomorrow is a massive day for me. For the last 8 years of my life, I have been in the most horrendous situation with my children's, I'd like to say father, but he's not quite a father. It's all talk, slander. And we're not focusing on what that does to children. When you're looking at family courts, they're like, oh, what's in the best interests of the children? The other parent making up false allegations, harassing, destroying someone's life is not in the best interests of any person or child. Parental rights should not be an automatic thing. They should be something that is earned. And if not earned, they should be taken away from people. The situation I have been put in, I am not unique. There are worse situations than mine, and I am lucky to be standing and still be functioning the way I am, because nobody needs to be put under this pressure, and the support networks around mothers is horrendous. So, from looking for jobs, you are at the bottom of a pecking order in front of the next offender. People don't value motherhood or consider actually people's careers versus why aren't you making all the money? Well, I got, no support. By 6 o'clock, you have to be there. There is no weekend support. There is nothing that you can say, oh yeah, I can just be like everybody else. And this is where the level of understanding for mothers, and particularly yesterday, was really important. I actually had a great day. I was like up in the sky on the London Eye and underneath the ground in the London Aquarium. And you make it the way you want, but my children understand, because we have conversations around things, that adult problems are adult problems, and they have nothing to do with children. And the way that we use children as collateral, or we shame them, or we make them feel guilty. Again, you are a child of somebody, and I am a child of somebody. I don't have the best relationship with my family at all, because of the way that society tries to keep portraying what is right, what is wrong, this is evil, this is good. Actually, walking away from your children is not a good thing. Hating on the other parent is not a good thing. It's hard enough as a woman that your body is changing every single month. We go through different cycles. Our hormones change. No one wants to take that into consideration. Everyone wants to look at women as a second class part of society rather than an equal factor in what contributes to making strong, stable adults. Because if you look at the world now and you look at a huge adult population and a lot of our world leaders, like look at Trump, if you go back and look at the trauma that was caused to him as a child, you can understand where the psychosis comes in today. And a lot of people's psychosis, I'd like to put it, starts from childhood. And unless we start getting childhood right and looking at mothers more as respected people in the community and not just some, well, I don't know, parasitic, you know, oh, you need help, you need this, you need that. I actually don't need much help. I'm the one helping everybody else. I had Thursday, 4 kids over, Friday, 4 kids over, Saturday, massive party, then followed by like 2 16-year-old girls passed out. It is everybody's duty to get stuck in. And again, this isn't going to be a very long video because I don't think we really need to, everyone can see, again, without women in society, this whole system, which is already falling apart, there would be nobody for it to fall apart on. We need to respect each other more. We need to look at how we might not get on with the other parent. That's completely fine. But making up false allegations, trying to get them into trouble, my life has been ransacked only for them to find out that it was all lies. And this happens to me often. People are like, oh, that woman. What's your problem with me? People's problem with me is that I am actually mature enough to step above situations, look at things for what they are, and I don't need to hate on you. You know, karma comes and does whatever it needs to do. But at the end of the day, each individual, whether you're male or female, needs to understand that the sacred feminine has been oppressed for such a long time. And that is part of why we live in such a messed up world. You know, for me, keeping a house alive is a full-time job on its own. Then go out and do this and go out and do that. And there's only so much capacity you can give before things start falling through the cracks. Knock on wood, I do have the coolest kids in the world. And where do we compensate? Do we work on emotions? Do we work on the reading and writing? Because I've worked on emotions, and when you look at the rest of the children, it's mind-boggling. You don't just change everybody's plans because your kid is going crazy. You control your child, and that's what's going to be a child who can control itself in the future. Because without self-regulation, this is why everyone's losing their shit. This is why everyone hates everyone. This is why there are so many trolls in the world. You need to deal with yourself, and if you can't, there are mother figures out there, and it doesn't have to be your child that you help. I had 14-year-old girls, talk to them about sex, talk to them about these things, talk to them about drugs and alcohol, rather than like, let's just not talk about difficult things, because it's these difficult things that are going to save people's lives in the future. Now, I never planned on being a parent. Took it on the chin. It's been an incredible experience that has made me grow as an individual, as a woman. I wouldn't change the experience, and maybe I changed the other parent with like being less psychotic. But again, we as a team, global team, need to start addressing why women are hated on so much. And actually, even if your mother gave you away, you still have a mother, or someone gave birth to you. And because of the situation around us, not everyone can actually keep them. Because if I wasn't as fortunate as I was, I'd be on the streets right now. And I'm very grateful that I'm not, and that I am able to maintain myself. But actually, it's not as easy as it looks. And we all need to give everybody a little bit more grace. Look at parenting, not from the traditional sense of I'm just having kids to pass on my DNA and pass on my inheritance. No, we are raising the future population of the planet. We need to educate them on sex. We need to educate them on drugs. We need to educate them on their own self-respect, because without that, there is no future. You're already seeing what they're doing to the planet. You see all the mothers across the world who have lost children to death, to poverty, to famine, to really, really malicious other parents. And I'm not saying that's just men who do this, women do this too. And it's time that we started holding people accountable and even holding ourselves accountable and looking around and going, actually, maybe that person's other parent isn't able to help them, so I can actually step in and help them. I can give the 16-year-olds advice. I can clean the sick off their faces. We do what we do because that is the essence of being a mum. It doesn't have to be your kid. It doesn't. It could be anyone's kid. It is your job and my job as a society to step in and make sure that actually you've learned this lesson. How we're going to move forward. Anyway, that's enough for me. So please like, share, and get the message out there.